What is going on, ICBA fans? It is Owen, and we're back with some more power rankings. So today, I have the draft analysis and power rankings for the sort of little brother of the ICBA, which is the D League. Now, this league is sort of the I guess slightly less formal, more chilled version of the ICBA, and that is going to be reflected in the composition of this video, which is going to be a lot less professional, I think, than the main league power rankings. So, for want of a better word, this is essentially going to be a live rankings, because I'm basically just going through the teams right now. I'm going to be judging them as I see them here, and then we'll kind of put a list together at the end, basically, just purely due to time constraints, because Summer Showdown has just started, and I have a lot of games this week and stuff to do, so bear with me. Now, I'm not 100% sure of all the of who coaches who, so I'll just be referring to them as their team names, so you can work out if I'm talking about your own team, presumably, so that should be fine. Now, just to explain the tiers for this league, so it doesn't work exactly like the main division where they had like a choice of picking one S tier or a mega. So basically, for the D League, all hell kind of broke loose. It's just a free points draft, but you can pick as many Ubers and S tier mons as you can afford, essentially. So that worked out interestingly, I'm going to say. Maybe not Johnny GB's finest decision as a commissioner, but we'll see. There are some fun looking drafts anyway. So jumping into it, we're going to start with the Scarborough Staraptors. Now, they have the Zygarde 50%, Tapu Fini, Infernape, Jolteon, Licky, Mismagius, Skuntank, Lucario, Lycanroc Day, Mega Abomasnow, and Sigilyph. So, interesting team. No Ubers on this one. Did get the Zygarde 50% though, which is a good Pokemon for sure. Fini, very expensive Fini there. That's a lot. It cost even more than Zygarde, which is quite interesting, I have to say. So, let's see, speed tiers. What have you got? You got the Jolteon every. I don't know. I don't know if these are in order. I believe they are. So nice round 4 Jolteon. Seems to be about right for people who like that Pokemon. Lycanroc Day is pretty fast. Mismagius, Sigilyph. There's some decent speed tiers here, I guess. So that's quite good. Hazards, what have you got? You got Fini for Defog, Infernape for Rocks, Mismagius is Spin Blocker, Skuntank and Defog. Lycanroc, I assume, gets Rocks, does it? Might not. Never actually used that Pokemon. So it's like, yeah, it's okay. There's not that many hazards on it. There's no spikes or anything. But yeah, it's decent enough, I suppose. What are his cores like? He's got a nice Dragon, Steel. I mean, Lucario is not a great defensive Steel type, but it is a good Pokemon, so that's decent. What's your Fairy? Do you have a Fairy? Fini? Yeah, so that's good. It's a decent core. Fire, Water, Grass, and you got Ape, Thingy, what's Water, Fini, and Mega Abomasnow. So he's gone with kind of different defensive cores. I guess he's got I guess his main defensive core is like Fini, Zygarde, Licky. It's an interesting looking team. I'm not 100% sure what way it's going to play. Is it offense? Is it, balance? I guess it's balance really more than anything. He's probably going to have like a fat Licky, wish passing in a lot of games, that sort of thing. Decent Volturn core too. That's kind of cool. What's he going into though off it? That's the real thing. In terms of wall breakers, they can come in off the Volturn core. I don't really see much immediate power there. Lucario is quite strong, but it's not like crazy. It's not the strongest Pokemon. And then Zygarde obviously only has 100 base attack, so maybe a little lack of immediate power there. I don't know. It's interesting. He's got some versatile mons though. Infernape, Fini, Zygarde, Lucario, Mismagius. Yeah, it's a versatile team, so that's pretty good. Mega Abomasnow is a bit of a meme pick for a Mega, and he went with the full roster of mons, really, maybe over some higher value Pokemon, but I don't know, that's a road to go down if you get useful picks all the way down. And I think these are all viable Pokemon. It's probably not a particularly scary draft, but it's decent enough, I'd say. So yeah, let's move on. Houston Regirockets now he got the Mega Kangaskhan. Can't remember off the bat what are the restrictions on Mega Kangaskhan. I think it's just no Seismic Toss. Although it is 25 points, which is kind of nuts, so it could be Seismic Toss, I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me. Zapdos, Excadrill, Florges, Galvantula, Mesprit, Nihilego, Gigalith, and Gastrodon. So nice sand team, Mega Kangaskhan, webs and stuff, so webs plus sand, gotta go fast. It's pretty nice. Speed outside of webs and outside of sand is like not the best, but I mean, I guess he has two. I mean, sand plus webs is fine. If you're over reliant on sand, it wouldn't be great, but I guess he has two options there. Webs plus Mega Kangaskhan sounds a bit dangerous, to be fair. That's definitely a threat, even with the nerf. That Pokemon is still an absolute beast, so that should be good. Yeah, all his picks seem kind of decent. He obviously has 2 Mons less, but I think he has better quality of Mons than the Scarborough team overall. Like Mesprit for 4 points even is a decent little thing. It's a versatile. Again, reasonably versatile Pokemon. A few of them are anyway. Kangaskhan can do a few different things. Zapper is versatile. Galvantula not so much. Kind of. Mesprit, Nihilego, yeah. So that's alright. What are his hazards? Like, you got Zapper for Defog, Excadrill for Rocks and Spin, Galvantula gets Webs, Mesprit gets Rocks, Nihilego gets Rocks and Toxic Spikes. Yeah, he's got good Rockers, good hazards, and a Spinner, I guess. So that's cool. He doesn't have a Spin Blocker with Webs. I think you want a Spin Blocker if you're going to run a Sticky Webs team, personally. But that's just me. And yeah, he's got a pretty decent defensive core as well. He's got like Florges, Mesprit, Gigalith, Gastrodon, Zapdos, and like Mega Kangaskhan's really bulky as well. So he has flexibility there defensively, which is nice. I guess in terms of raw immediate power, you're kind of looking at Mega Kangaskhan, Driller to a certain extent, Nihilego. Yeah, he's got heavy hitters. I do like with Gigalith as well. It's a sort of a bulky pivot that can hit back, and Florges as well has a very good special attack stat. So again, I guess bulk that can hit is really nice. In terms of defensive synergy, you're looking at, like, no Dragon, but I mean Dragon is not like a superb defensive typing anyway. Yeah, Steel and Fairy are really the two more important typings, I think, in that core anyway. Although, yeah, Fire, Water, Grass resists are nice, I suppose. But yeah, those are two decent defensive steel type if you want to run it that way. And Florges, obviously good Fairy. Fire, Water, Grass, what's he got? He's got like Gastrodon. Does he have a fire type? He has no fire type, which I always like to have a fire type on a draft. Just it's handy for certain matchups, but it's not absolutely necessary by any means. Water type is Gastrodon. Grass type is Thingy. I've said this. Does he have a grass type? No grass type. So again, I guess he's gone with a sort of a different core. He's kind of gone with the flying Zapdos Gigalith thing. I guess they Gigalith and Gastrodon, and Zapdos covers like grass. Gastrodon covers like rock for Zapdos. What's his ice type switch in? He doesn't have like an ice resist, which is it's pretty bad, to be honest, because yeah, there's some ice types that can just go in, I guess, against this team. But it's an okay draft. Sand is good. It's a decent strat. Mega Kang is good for sure, so it should be a decent enough team overall. Then moving on to the New York Pokemon Rangers. So this guy has, I think this one's coached by Dougal, if I'm not mistaken. I remember a couple of them. This one is Mega Gardevoir, Heatran, Scolipede, Salamence, Donphan, Zangoose, Terrakion, Jellicent, Electros, Lightbard, and Leafeon. So he's gone with a lot of Pokemon here over kind of over an S tier, which is I mean, it's justifiable. He went with Mega Gardevoir round 1, which is like an absolute terror in the format. So I mean, even though he didn't get an Uber, he has definitely picked up a big threat. Heatran synergizes with it quite well, of course, defensively, and he's got some speed pass there in Scolipede, so definitely can, I think he can really threaten with this Pokemon. So it could end up being as valuable as some of the S tiers for sure. Ment obviously is a demon with speed pass as well. That could be even more threatening. Yeah, just because you can potentially, I don't know, you potentially don't even need to set up a Dragon Lance. You can just start killing things and Moxie up and whatnot. Tarak as well. He's got Ment and Tarak. That's actually broken. So I'm quite a fan of this team, actually. To be honest, like people were criticizing like not picking an S tier round 1, and it did contribute to some, I guess, shenanigans on the abomination you see to the right. We're going to talk about that in a second, but I do think this team ended up quite good, to be honest. He's got good hazard control there. Donphan, Spinner. Who's his other hazard control? I mean, Mence can defog. Actually, he doesn't have the best hazard control, I guess, so that's not too good, but I mean, it looks more offensive with the sort of speed pass strat into one of these broken things anyway, so that's honestly fine. What else is he getting? He's got Liepard. I think is always a decent enough pick as a cheap thing for offense, because you can use it as an insurance policy with Prankster T-Wave. Some decent kind of pivots there in Jellicent and Electros. I don't know what Leafeon does, but I lost the one the other day, so I can't really say anything. Then yeah, I'm not crazy about Heatran in drafts, just because, like, you know, it's defensively it's not that great with the quad weakness, and like, I mean, Heatran in OU is good because like every Heatran set is basically a lure, but none of its sets are really lures in draft, so that's kind of something it has to contend with. But defensively, defensive typing synergizes well with most of the stuff, and it's obviously a nice offensive fire type, especially with the potential for speed pass, could certainly be a threat. You know, so that's cool. Zangoose is really cool for 2 points as well. It's a very powerful Pokemon, so that could get a kill or two. Again, like, you're looking, speed pass is kind of the king here. You look at something like that setting up. I mean, well, it's not necessarily going to get the chance to set up a Swords Dance, but even just coming in with the speed boost is going to be a threat. Yeah, so it's a decent enough team in general, I think. What are speed tiers like outside of the speed pass? You have the Scully. It's a little bit reliant on Scully for speed, like, so if people can play, I mean, Torchics is decently fast as well, but yeah, maybe not the fastest draft overall, but it's definitely okay. I think it ended up with a good team. Then moving on to the Bristol City Banettes, this one, yeah, this is the Mega Steelix round 1, Keldeo, Ferrothorn, Rotom-He, Reuniclus, Mandibuzz, Clefairy, Snorlax, Victini, Tropius. This is kind of memes, but I don't know, what can you do? Round 1 Mega Steelix, I do not recommend. Like, this was picked before, Mega Metagross for one thing. But also, I think the likes of Blaziken with Speed Boost. I don't know if, like, Darkrai was legal in this one. I know it was legal in the, the main league, but yeah, Mega Steelix round 1, not great. Keldeo round 2 is okay. I don't really like Ferrothorn. I don't know why you have a Mega Steelix and a Ferrothorn. Why you'd spend like loads of points on that in the first 3 rounds, because they're both kind of fat steel type rockers. You know, a little bit of overlap there. Rotom-He then is okay because you've pretty good hazard control, I guess, with the Mandibuzz. Nice round. What is that? Round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Round 9 Victini, not bad. Because Victini is, it's not as good as last gen, but it's still good. So that's pretty nice. And then just some decent memes there. Tropius, Clefairy, I don't know. Interesting. Pyukumuku is always like cancer to play against, so that's a pretty good pick for the last one. But this draft is not the greatest. It goes without saying. There are definitely holes. Just a lack of really good Pokemon in the first 3. Like, Keldeo's good, but, you know, there are Ubers around, so, you know, it's not really worth at that point in the draft, I don't think. So that's the thing. I mean, his defensive core, he's got like Reuniclus and Mandibuzz synergize pretty well together, so that could be a dangerous combination, and they were decent value, I think, as well. But like, your fairy type is Clefairy, so that's kind of that's not the greatest. Snorlax is good. Snorlax is cheap as well. So yeah, I don't know. What do you look? Let's look at some of the specifics. So hazards, you have Steelix, Ferrothorn, they're good. Mandibuzz for defog. Yeah, so that's all right. It's a little bit linear. You've only just the one defogger, I think, isn't it? Yeah, just one defogger, and then 2 sort of steel type rockers, and obviously Ferrothorn can stack spikes as well. So it's all right, but not really great. No spin blocker on a spike stacker. I like, with Ferrothorn, really all you're doing is buying a sort of a luxury spike stacker. I think you're basically overpaying for spikes. Because you're not going to get that much defensive utility out of it because of the quad weakness, and like basically no offensive utility. So I think if you wanted to just use it as a spike stacker, you really would need a spin blocker, to be honest. Something along those lines, or one of the Pokemon that like discourages defog, even maybe get a Surf or a Bisharp, something like that. He hasn't gone with that, so I think Ferrothorn is out of place here. I think that, I mean, what else? It's a decently fat, like, Reuniclus, Mandibuzz, Snorlax is a nice defensive core, Mega Steelix as well, so we could run like a stall team, I guess, but yeah, I don't know how well that's going to work with all the kind of Ubers knocking around, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, not my favourite draft, to say the least, so I won't talk about this for too long. But let's move on to the Anaheim Altarias, and yeah, picking Mega Steelix round 1 is kind of all fun and games until this kind of thing happens. So this is Ace's team, and he has the Speed Boost Blaziken, Hoopa Unbound, Mega Mawile, Swellow, Piloswine, Dragalge, Shaman, Slowking, Alolan Raichu, and Frogadier. Nice 1-point Frogadier there, just to rub salt in the wounds. So this is just simply an abomination. Shouldn't exist. You have essentially three Ubers. I know Hoopa Unbound is OU, but like it's broken in the draft format because it can obviously it can pack the coverage it needs for the one or two things that could potentially check its stabs. Speed Boost Blaziken is a cracked Pokemon for sure. So yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best S tiers you can pick up. Mega Mawile has absolutely no switch in, so like you've got one of the top special wall breakers in the game and one of the top physical wall breakers in the game, which absolutely rip defensive teams to shreds. If you want to run offense, then Speed Boost Blaziken is a huge threat, as is Swellow. Swellow has a really good speed tier versus offense. Some other mons that can fit like kind of any team composition, Shaman and Slowking are just quite splashable Pokemon in general. Dragalge to potentially stack Toxic Spikes as well, so I mean, if you want to, I guess, wear down even more defensive teams, that's an option. It's also a decent wall breaker in itself, so that's the thing. Piloswine is the only rocker, which is kind of unfortunate because you're not going to want to bring that every week. Oh no, Mega Mawile also gets rocks, but I'm not 100% sure if can you even say Mega Mawile forces switches and as it sets up rocks, because most people just stay in and sack versus this thing, because like what are you switching in? But that's okay, I guess. Has a lot of spikes though, so it's not the end of the world. Like he has the T-spikes, and then Frogadier either gets spikes or toxic spikes, I can never remember, but it gets one of them, so that's alright, I guess. Hazard control, you're looking at just defog Swellow, so that's not ideal by any means, but a few of his Pokemon are not like Mawile resists rocks. Slowking has regenerated and stuff, so he's not like massively weak to rocks, but kind of bad at the same time. If someone spike stacks him, he is maybe in trouble. So yeah, I mean it's an interesting team. It's like very, very broken in one sense, but synergy wise, I think maybe some of the roles were lost, but I don't know, it should still win like a bunch of games because of just how strong the actual Pokemon are. So that's an interesting one. Moving on to the Atlanta Braviaries, we see Mega Metagross, Thundee, Mamoswine, Greninja, Celebi, Comfey, Rhyperior, Drampa, and Darmanitan. So just kind of stacked again, this team. So Mega Metagross, I mean, yeah, he might have been sniped on Mega Steelix, but yeah, he managed to get this thing, so that's not too bad. Yeah, this is, again, very difficult draft to switch into, like Thundee, what are the switch-ins? Mega Metagross, extremely difficult like a lot of there are Pokemon out there that aren't going to be too hit KO'd by Mega Metagross, obviously, but like loads of them just can't even dent it back because it's so stupidly fat, which is definitely why it's so dangerous, I think. Mamoswine, always notorious in draft because dual stabs are stupid. Gren, really good against offense, so again you see like this, like three really tremendous wall breakers, and then you have a Pokemon that kind of smacks offense around a bit, which is Gren. And a little bit like the Shaman on the other team, Celebi, which is kind of splashable on most playstyles, which is kind of cool. And then you have Comfey, Rhyperior, Drampa, and Darmanitan. Darmanitan's a good Scarfer, I guess. That's usually how people use it. A little bit predictable, but I mean, you can run it as a second, like if you want to run like the Life Orb, Sheer Force. That's well, you'll be running Sheer Force presumably anyway, but it's definitely a tremendous wall breaker if you want to go down that route. Can smash teams to bits. Drampa's a cool Pokemon, has a few different sets it can run. Rhyperior, it's a good solid rocker, and also defensive thing, it can hit back really hard. So I mean, a lot of the Pokemon are definitely like, there's very few Pokemon that you wouldn't be scared of on this draft, which is really cool. In terms of like synergy, you're like, what are you got like Celebi, Rhyperior, Mega Metagross, I guess, are your main sort of defensive, quote unquote defensive things. Comfey kind of to a certain extent, but doesn't have great HP stats, and it's not really like, it's a little bit, what are you really doing with Comfey? Switching in, and you're not forcing switches really. It's more of a setup thing, obviously. Maybe like a pivot with Taunt and U-turn, but yeah, I don't know. Comfey's an interesting Pokemon, but yeah, it's a pretty dangerous offense team, I think, in general. It's like, doesn't have the widest defensive coverage or defensive core you could ever see, but definitely going to be spooky to play against. In terms of hazards, what you got: Rocks Metagross, Rocks Mamoswine, Spikes Gren, Rock Celebi, Rock Serperior. Where the hazard control though? Where's the hazard control? Yeah, no hazard control. It's a little bit unfortunate, but it is like purely offense, I guess. That's what he's obviously going with, so shouldn't be too bad. There's a team in the main league with no hazard control as well, so this is a little bit similar. In fact, I think they might even both have Mega Metagross. I could be wrong though, but yeah, that's probably a drawback, because a few of the Pokemon are rock weak, Thundity and Darmanitan, who you're probably going to want to bring a lot of the time, so yeah, that's not great. But moving on to the Montgomery Metagross, these guys have the Tapu Lele, Landorus T, Conkeldurr, Crobat, Magnezone, Mega Absol, Druddigon, Swampert, Lurantis, and Samurott. So let's see, what's he got? So he picks up Lele, another kind of broken S tier, really tricky to switch into. Landorus T for 17 points is pretty nuts, I gotta say, because Landorus T is no joke. Can't Crobat, let's see. So it's like speed tiers first of all. What's he got? He's got Crobat, which is good, Mega Absol. Kind of maybe just a little bit of a gap there. He's kind of down to 95, isn't he? I can't remember. I don't think Samurott's not fast. So I don't know. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a speed gap, but it's it's not too bad. I think maybe like base 110s can run. I think base 110s can run like Modest or Adamant against him. That's maybe a problem, but yeah, it's not the end of the world, I guess. Then in terms of his like hazards, what do you got? You got Rocks, Lando, Default Crobat, Magic Bounce Absol, Rock Druddigon, Rock Swampert, Defog Lurantis. So he's got a couple of Defoggers, a couple of yeah, he's got the Magic Bounce. So he's okay at keeping rocks off the field. He doesn't really have any hazard stack apart from the couple of rockers he has, so it's alright. You don't necessarily need spikes, but Druddigon probably will be fairly important in the team, I guess, because you're not going to want to run Rocks Landorus every week. But I mean, it can run an offensive set with Stealth Rocks. Obviously, it can be the like Z-Fly, Smackdown, Earthquake, Stealth Rocks, that kind of thing. It's a great set. Lele, in terms of like offensive synergy with Tapu Lele, does he have good stuff for removing steel types? I suppose he does. Lando T, Conk, Magnezone. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, I like how he's built around Tapu Lele there to a certain extent. Like Magnezone is very good for trapping certain steel types, primarily the ones that Lando T and Conk don't necessarily break as easily, such as like Scizor and Skarmory. I know you can run Fire Punch or something on I can't remember Conk. I presume it gets Fire Punch, gets most of the elemental punches. I'm going to check that right now, actually. Conkeldurr, because it has a wide move pool. But regardless of whether it does or not, Magnezone is good for trapping those things. Anyway, it does get Fire Punch, obviously, yeah. So it can beat Scizor, but yeah, Zone is another thing that can trap Skarm, so that's pretty cool. Now Tapu Lele can absolutely blow Skarm away if it really wants to, but just in terms of spamming Psychic, yeah, that helps for sure. And also, I guess some bulky Psychics that can switch into Tapu Lele. You know, some of the really fat, like I guess like Cresselia, maybe. I don't know if Cresselia is a good switch into Tapu Lele, because it can. I mean, Tapu Lele can get around Cress in multiple ways, but again, if you literally just want to spam like Spec Psychic or Scarf Psychic or something like that, then these are decent Pokemon for removing checks to that. So that's really good. So it looks like a decent team in general. Like defensive core, you're looking at like Lando T if you want to do that. Druddigon, Swampert, like it's again a little bit limited defensively. You can certainly overwhelm the core, but just in terms of offensive synergy, I think it's quite well built. So yeah, there's that. So that's quite a good draft, I think. Then we have the Pittsburgh Huge Powers, who have the Mega Lopunny, Kieran Black, Volcarona Starmie, Alolan Ninetales, Ditto Deblade, Primarina, and Uxie. So again, not really picking up an Uber, but did get the Mega Lopunny, which is definitely a big threat in the league format, and the Kieran Black. Actually, I think this is Rio's team. I remember him talking about his wheel picks. He's quite happy with them. So yeah, I think these are a good two Pokemon to pick up in lieu of a kind of an Uber, but yeah, he's built a pretty good draft here, I think. Volk as well is a big threat. Starmie, nice spinner for the two Rock Week kind of sweepers, so that's kind of cool. He has nice screens. I do like my screens, so screens Volk is nice. Ditto as well. It's a cool thing to have on offense for, checking something that gets out of hand against you. Deblade, nice spin blocker for. Does he have he doesn't really have Spike Stack. He doesn't have a rocker. Oh, he has Uxie for rocks. Yeah, that's fine. Uxie's an okay rocker. I guess he could run like a dank kind of Trick Room team as well. Lead Uxie, get them rocks up. Trick Room Memento or something. Yeah, go for there. You could run like the nice Trick Room Calm Mind Volcarona. We were all talking about how Volcarona gets Calm Mind and how it was useless. But yeah, if you were running Trick Room, you could get something out of that. So I don't know if he wants to do that. So that could be interesting. Primarina would be a threat actually under Trick Room too. Kieran Black, yeah, nice Trick Room Megaloth, maybe, who knows. But yeah, it's a pretty good looking team, lots of offensive threats, not really much by way of defense, but lots of natural bulk on some of the, Kieran Black is naturally bulky. No, there's not a huge amount of bulk here, to be fair, like maybe Primarina and Uxie, but certainly it is going to be very offensive, so you probably want to see maybe, maybe more spike stacking kind of things going on, but certainly you can see some of the strats here that he will be going with some screens plus Volk, and he does have a good spinner and stuff, so that's definitely viable. And then Ditto, yeah, it's cool. Deblade, interesting pick, Deblade, because I guess it does provide a little bit of defensive utility on the team, because it kind of blanket checks certain physical attackers, so that's kind of cool. I don't know, how do I feel about this one? It's interesting. It's an interesting looking team. Lots of good picks. Maybe a few rolls missing, but could be the threat. So yeah, moving into the second half of the draft, and let's see what we got. We've got the Portland Trailblazers here. So they have the Deoxyspeed, Garchomp, Hawlucha, Bronzong, Mantine, Gengar, Incineroar, Gligar, Aromatisse, Mega Gyarados, and Delcatty. So I've already seen one of their games, which I won't spoil, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. So we see, Deoxyspeed as the kind of S tier. Definitely think it proved its worth in the main league, no doubt. So that's a good pick. Nice spike stack and stuff on that guy, and obviously a very good matchup against offense just because of the speed tier. And yeah, as far as the rest of the speed tiers go, what have you got? You've got the Gengar, decent, Hawlucha, Garchomp. Yeah, these are good speed tiers for sure. Hazards, you got Deoxyspeed for everything, Chomp for rocks, Bronzong for rocks, Mantine for defog, Gengar to spin block, Gligar to defog, no spinner, which is a little bit unfortunate because there's a lot of spike stacking going on here, so I would like to see a spinner. He can potentially afford rocks up on his own side and just stack the opponent, but rocks are never ideal to have on your own side of the field, so I think a spinner would have been cool in this draft, but not the end of the world. Yeah, you would really kind of want to keep Hazards off the field if you want to go for a game with Gyarados and stuff. And he definitely has lots of good support for Gyarados in like Bronzong, which can get screens. Yeah, I don't know. I think a spinner would have worked. But yeah, apart from that, let's see in terms of defensive synergy, because he does have a few defensive things. You got the Mantine, the Gligar, Chomper, Bronzong as well. So he's got like a decent. He's got a decent like Dragon Steel Fairy kind of old school defensive core there. They all cover each other quite well, obviously. Gligar is a thing. I don't really like Gligar as a Pokemon, but it's an okay little pivot, I guess. What else is decent about his team? Gengar, Incineroar, Gyarados. What's his like in terms of removing Gyarados checks? Again, he's got two decent like ground types, which can punish electric types, although yeah, obviously they're both quad weak to ice, so I don't know, he might be a little bit Bolt Beam weak. He's arguably a little bit Bolt Beam weak. I think that's definitely there. It's definitely a thing. But I guess Bronzong can switch in Aromatisse. They're reasonable blanket checks to some special attackers, so might be the end of the world. Although yeah, you can see like Pokemon like the Thundies going in potentially for sure, but he's got a nice Delcatty there as well. We were talking about this pick as well. Just some of the dank abilities Delcatty has. You got got Normalize for the nice T-Wave versus ground types. You got the Wonder Skin, I think it's called, for so your opponent goes for T-Wave, only 50% accurate. That's the best move in the game, so this is a nice pivot into that. And then you have the Q Charm, which is a pretty godly ability as well, it must be said. You can just like switch in Focus Sash, Cute Charm, and then just like Calm Mind, Baton Pass, easy strats. So I definitely think that's a great pick. But yeah, I think it's some solid picks across the board in general. I think decent value. He picked a lot of Pokemon, and he seemed to manage to get like most of them, apart from the Delcatty, are like definitely viable. So probably not a bad draft. And yeah, in terms of, I guess, like offensive synergy, it's nice to see. Yeah, Deoxys Speed. I think that Deoxys Speed is just a really good pick in general, because he has like some decent wall breakers down the rest of the draft. Like Gengar has no switch-ins. Garchomp is a really decent wall breaker with Z moves and stuff. Mega Gyarados, Incineroar, they're both quite strong. So basically, again, a little bit similar to a few of the drafts in the first half. Some decent wall breakers, and then sort of a Pokemon that really smacks the fence around, and that is Deoxys Speed. So I think that's a decent strategy to go with. So yeah, solid enough draft overall. So moving on to the St. Kilda Serperiors. I don't know who St. Kilda is, but this is an interesting looking draft. We have the Magearna, Latios, Mega Beedrill, Arcanine, Blastoise, Frostlass, Nidoking, Rotom-Mow, Tornadus Eye, and Tauros. So Magearna is back, and yeah, it's definitely a bit of a broken pawn. I think it has proven time and again in the League format, just because it's so difficult to prep for with all the sets it can run. Latios, again, stupid Pokemon with Z moves, very difficult to switch into. Mega Beedrill, quite decent against offense, so a justifiable pick, I think, even though it's not like the greatest Mega. Let's see, like, so, and then he has a decent defensive core there, like Arcanine, Blastoise, Rotom-Mow, Firewater Grass. Excuse me, that's quite decent though. I mean, Blastoise is a little bit passive, but it's a good spinner, which the team appreciates for sure, so definitely, I think, a smart pick. Tauros, 2-point Tauros, which is like crazy, because Tauros is like a very decent Pokemon in the lower tiers. Yeah, 4-point Frostlass, like, is nuts. Like, what the fuck is that? I just, like, Blastoise is 10 points, Frostlass is 4 points. I don't really know what to say about that one. Some of the points, I'm not gonna lie, some of the points tiers here are just, they're weird. But what can you say? They voted on them, they voted on changes, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it's definitely some good value picks here. Yeah, by all accounts. Nidoking, sorry, is a very good breaker as well. Removes some steel types and stuff, which can threaten Mega Beedrill defensively, and like Latios and stuff, and even Magearna. Yeah, so Nidoking's a very good pick. That late in the draft, I think that's cool. Like hazards wise, you have Beedrill, I think that's Toxic Spikes and Defog, and you don't often see those. You have Spin on Blastoise, Spin blocking, and Spike stacking on Frostlass. Rocks on Nidoking. So that's it. How many rockers does he? I think he might only have the one rocker, which is not great, because Nidoking is not the most reliable stealth rocker in the game. But a decent hazard stack outside of that, and some good control. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Picked up Arcanine as well, which is I think it's just a good pick in general with Magearna, because it's like, among other things, it's a good Magearna check, so you don't have to face it. And it's also like a reasonable switch in. It's always going to be a good switch into sort of bulky fire types and bulky steel types, which threaten Magearna, or can take hits from it, so good pick there. And I just like Arcanine in general as a Pokemon, because the offensive sets are very threatening, and it's good priority and stuff which you can have in the back versus offensive teams, so that's kind of cool. So it's a pretty balanced team, I guess. Like, it has a defensive core there that's usable. Again, it probably looks more offensive than it's like offensive balance, I guess. But you could fall back on like bulky Arcanine, bulky Blastoise, Rotom-Mow, maybe like a bulky Magearna, I don't know, Assault Vest or something like that. So yeah, you could put out a balanced team here for sure. So maybe not quite as linear as some of the other teams, and it has good offensive synergy and stuff, so it's alright. But yeah, I think defensively you could overwhelm this, but that's probably true of a lot of teams, so not the end of the world. So moving on to the Kentucky Fried Torchics, Pheromosa, Deoxys Defense, Mega Diancie, Suicune, Weavalt, Serena, Pyroar, Noivern, Alolan Dugtrio, and Electrode. So basically this team just, really very much the picks just get worse as we go down, which is kind of what they're supposed to, but yeah, that's interesting. Very, very good start, obviously. Pheromosa, Deoxys Defense, Mega Diancie, that's pretty broken. Suicune and Weavile, very good Pokemon as well. And then you have like Serena, Pyroar, who are okay. Noivern, who's grand. Well, Noivern's very good value. And then 2 sort of memes. I don't see too much value in those guys, although they only cost 5 points between them, so can't really criticise. So I think it's a good draft overall. Pheromosa is just very, very scary. No, I don't think anyone picked it in the main league, which is pretty interesting because it's definitely one of the best Pokemon you could have gotten. As a mixed attacker, it's just absolutely absurd. And with the ability it gets the option to boost its speed or like its attack or special attack, that's just absolutely terrifying. But yeah, this kind of works quite well with it, I think, this draft. Yeah, I think he's got very good speed tiers. First of all, Pheromosa, Mega Diancie, Weavile, they're all very fast. Noivern's very fast. No real gaps above the 100 mark or just below. I think Deoxys defense is still quite fast. Suicune has a decent speed tier and stuff, so it's a very fast team for sure. In terms of hazards, you've got it's been so long since let me see Pheromosa's move pool actually, because it's been so long since I actually played it. I don't know if it gets it gets Rapid Spin obviously, but it also it doesn't get spikes, I don't think, does it? No, it doesn't get spikes. It gets Rapid Spin. Yeah, it's been ages since I played this guy. Magic Bounce in the Diancie, all the hazards and stuff in Deoxys defense, which is great. Spin from Serena, and yeah, that's it. But this is a very good hazards, which is really cool. You can go with like disgusting strats with stacking spikes and doing some kind of roar, protect Suicune, all those sets that Suicune get look kind of nasty on this draft. Yeah, and then in terms of, I guess, what does Weavile pursue trapping for? Weavile can pursue trap like ghosts, maybe, which threaten Deoxys defense. I guess, yeah, because ghosts are one of the things that can break Deoxys defense, I suppose. So it can trap them. That could be a thing. Also, like, yeah, also you can spam high jump kick by trapping the ghost. So that's also one benefit, I suppose. Does anything want like bulky psychics gone? Probably not. Team isn't really vulnerable to bulky psychics. Maybe if you were some kind of, I don't know, some kind of offensive Deoxys defense, but this is kind of unusual. So yeah, mainly ghosts. The team appreciates ghosts gone from Weavile pursuit trapping stuff, which is nice. He's got a lot of. This is a very fast team. I'm just looking at it. It's like ridiculously fast, which is quite funny. But that's good. It's a good thing. Yeah, defensively, what have you got? You got Deoxys defense, you got Suicune, you have potentially the Serena. So you got, like, I mean, very, very heavily reliant on those 2 guys in particular, Deoxys and Suicune, in terms of switching into stuff, because the other guys are kind of, there's a lot of paper in the draft. Like, offense is great, but, I mean, when you have offense that's this frail, like Pheromosa, Weavile, Pyroar, Noivern, like, yeah, a lot of these guys can't really take a hit, like a Alolan Dugtrio. Obviously Diancie before it Mega Evolves has good bulk, but kind of limited when it does evolve. I mean, it has decent stats, but just typing and the fact that you're probably not going to invest means it doesn't really want to be pivoting into stuff too often. So it's an interesting team. It's like really frail stuff and really bulky stuff, which is funny. I'm not 100% sure how that plays, but yeah, kind of it'll be funny to see. But apart from that, what else would you say? We talk about hazards, defense. Yeah, don't know really. What is there much more to say? He's got a decent. He's got like decent momentum grabbers there in Pheromosa and Serena. So, and like Noivern and stuff. So you can definitely get into some of his breakers, which would be. I mean, mainly the Pheromosa is the immediate power in the team. Maybe Diancie obviously is a huge, very hard hitter. So yeah, that works well. So threatening offensively, weird sort of. The defensive stuff is interesting on the team because, well, I guess it's not really passive. Suicune's not really passive, to be fair, depending on how you run it. And Deoxys defense isn't either, so yeah, it's actually not bad. It's just a sort of an interesting composition, the way it's sort of really frail offensive stuff and really fat defensive stuff on the one team, so I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that's fine. But moving on to the next team, we have the Washington Reskitty, who have the Protein Ground, Mega Scizor, Gliscor, Rotom Wash, Entei, Roserade, Tyrantrum, Granbull, Musharna, Cryogonal, and Abra. Nice Abra. So paid very, very heavily for Protein Ground. which is I guess justifiable as broken in the league format because what's switching into that boy. Mega Scizor then, pretty okay value Mega Scizor for 16 points. But yeah, let's see, speed tiers, you've got what? You've got the Gren, you've got the Entei, Cryogonal is kind of fast, so okay speed tiers there. Gren's a good top speed tier, good priority in a few of the mons as well, so actually yeah, a lot of good priority, so that's pretty nice. The draft is looking pretty fast. Then hazards, what have you got? You got Gren to spike stack, Scizor for defog, Gliscor can potentially defog, but more likely than not rocks. Roserade gets all the spikes, Cryogonal can spin, so yeah, you've got pretty decent hazard control, I guess, if you want it, and some good spike stacking, so that's nice. That'll definitely help some of the offensive stuff win. Yeah, as far as offensive synergy goes, I guess like you can use Mega Scizor as a pursuit trapper to get rid of stuff for what once I guess Roserade doesn't appreciate psychic types. Ghosts as well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, I don't know if that's going to be a thing, pursuit trapping with Mega Scizor, but it's always a handy option. As far as things that can make like offensive doubles off Entei, luring in bulky waters, I guess Rotom Wash is certainly a thing that can come in on those and maybe get a bit of momentum off them. But it doesn't have like, yeah, Roserade as well. Actually, I guess like Roserade plus Entei works quite well, because if you're in with like if you send Entei in on like a bulky grass type, you can potentially send Roserade in, and that will cover them like staying in, predicting a double into Rotom Wash, or and it will cover them going into like a bulky water. So Roserade Entei could potentially be quite nice offensive synergy. What else do I think? Abra. What does Abra do? I'm not 100% sure, but it's pretty cool. Nice magic card, focus dash, stop a sweeper or something. I think it has actually decent. Abra has decent special attack, if I recall correctly. Let me see. Abra. I've never looked this Pokemon stats up. Yeah, it has 105 special attack. That's actually pretty cool. So yeah, could see that come to a game maybe. Cryogonal obviously is much better this gen with the defense buff. Tyrantrum is a big offensive threat. Scarf or Dragon Dance or whatever rock, because so few teams have like really genuine rock resists, I guess. And then like defensively, what have you got? You got Mega Scizor, Gliscor, Rotom Wash, Entei's pretty bulky, Roserade. It's a pretty flexible defensive core as well, so yeah, again, it's one of those teams that can play like quite offensively or defensively, which is a good quality, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, and then Granbull is your fairy, so what's your cores? Like I guess Scizor, Tyrantrum, Granbull, they all have decent bulk. And then Fire, Water, Grass, you've got the Entei, Rotom Wash, Roserade, which again all have good bulk, so yeah, it's pretty good defensively and threatening offensively, so it's a good draft, I would say, overall. Moving on to the Atlanta Shocks, we see Celesteela, Clefable, Latias, Raikou, Heracross, Tentacruel, Staraptor, Shiftry, Oranguru, and Mega Camerupt. So interesting team, very good start to the draft. I'd say this is a hell of a core. Celesteela, Clefable, Latias, certainly one of the better Dragon Steel Fairy defensive cores you'll ever see. So they cover each other really well. Raikou and Heracross are decent picks, I think. Like Raikou is, the fast electric types are good in League meme, but Raikou is definitely a solid Pokemon for setting up and volt switching around and stuff into some breakers, and he does have good breakers in Staraptor and Heracross in particular. Potentially like Z Latias as well is a tricky Pokemon to switch into. Then like hazards wise, you got Defog Latias, Rocks Clef, Toxic Spikes and Spin on Tentacruel, potentially Defog on Staraptor, Defog Shiftry, and Rocks on Mega Camerupt. So yeah, some I guess flexible enough options there. You got 3 semi-decent, like Latias is a good defogger, the other 2 are okay. As far as the rockers go, you've got Clef and the Stingy, the Camerupt, so probably Rocks Clef most of the time, I guess, but Clef is a very good rocker, so nothing wrong with that. I'm not a huge fan of Mega Camerupt, because I don't know if this team, it could be a Trick Room team, I guess. I don't know if Oranguru, again, let's let's jump on Pokemon Showdown and check Oranguru, because like this Pokemon I have never seen like in any tier. It does get Trick Room, so yeah, it's like looking like a semi room team, I guess, which is definitely a viable strat. Like Heracross can be Trick Room. Yeah, a lot of his Pokemon are definitely viable under Trick Room, so that's definitely good. He could definitely run that strat. Actually, does Clef itself get Trick Room? That's an interesting question, because I've never run that and I've never seen it on a Trick Room team. It probably doesn't, because it doesn't get Trick Room, because you'd probably see it on Trick Room teams if it did. But what else? Does he have any other setters? I don't know if he has any other setters unless Latias gets it, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So does it get Trick Room? Latias, you might get it. No, you don't get Trick Room, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, I guess, you know, you can get by with one setter, I guess. It's not ideal, but it's definitely a strat. And the team isn't reliant on it's not reliant on Trick Room, because it has good speed tiers. It's got the Raikou, the Latias, and Staraptor are decently quick, so yeah, so that's alright. Decent setup win cons as well. Obviously you got Steela, Clefable, like yeah, Raikou, Latias, there are a lot of Pokemon that can set up, so that's good. And decent, yeah, it's a good Volturn core. Definitely, they do Pokemon that do force switches in Raikou and Staraptor, so can get into stuff. The big breakers off them, so yeah. So it's good defensively. It looks kind of like it looks to me very much like a sort of a Gen 6 balance team with Celesteela thrown on at the end, because you're going to see a lot of probably Volturn, sort of a, I don't know, probably a kind of a standard defensive core, some kind of specially defensive Clefable and like Vizidef, Celesteela, or vice versa, and then yeah, some Volturn, maybe a sweeper and a breaker, those kind of things. You can see it playing like that. But yeah, I think it's still quite well built overall, so yeah, that's decent. Then moving on to the Wisconsin Timberr Rattle. This title is kind of cut off, but yeah, this team anyway. We've got Ashgren, Skarmory, Tangrowth, Dragonite, Mega Gallade, Explode, Seismitoad, Houndoom, Shuckle, Alolan Sandslash, and Porygon Z. So a lot of threats in this one. Ashgren is a hella broken Pokemon. Definitely be interesting to see that. He's picked up one of the better checks to it as well in Tangrowth, so no facing that. Very good defense core, like Skarmory, Tangrowth, Seismitoad. They're all very bulky Pokemon. Synergize pretty well too, because you've got obviously Seismitoad covering the fire weakness of the first two, and then like the other two guys cover Seismitoad's grass weakness, and then Skarmory covers the flying. And yeah, that's a good defensive core overall, actually, so I like that. Then speed tiers, you got obviously Ashgren is hella fast, Mega Galade's pretty quick, Alolan Sandslash is not quick because you've got no hail. What else? Houndoom, I think. No, Houndoom's not super quick. Yeah, they're okay speed tiers. Yeah, again, Ashgren being the top one is good. A little bit of a gap maybe down to Mega Gallade, who can't run a Scarf or anything like that, so I don't know, not necessarily ideal, but good. Yeah, good top speed tier anyway, so that's fine. Hazards again, you got Skarm and Gren for spike stacking, defog Skarm too. Possibly like inner focus defog Dragonite. I don't think that's going to be a thing. Rock Seismitoad, Sticky Web Shuckle as well. So this, oh yeah, the team does have Sticky Web obviously, so speed tiers are obviously better than they are on paper, I guess. And yeah, Sandslash is the spinner. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess like spikes plus defog Skarm is always tricky enough to fit, so maybe the Alolan Sandslash could come to certain games as a spinner, but it's not a great Pokemon in general. Good value for 3 points, so is an option. Yeah, and then in terms of like immediate power, what have you got? You got Dragonite, Mega Gallade, Explode. These good breakers here, which is cool. Decent setup win cons as well. Dragonite and Gallade are, I mean, they're good because they can be breakers and setup sweepers, which is quite nice. So again, looking like more of a balanced team than some of the other stuff we've seen, which is cool because yeah, he does have a good defensive core to fall back on if he wants to play that style. Could certainly go with like just all out hazard stack offense, which is also a very viable option, but yeah, it's quite a versatile draft, I guess, in general, so that's pretty good. Tangrowth as well. People don't tend to run like the offensive Tangrowth test, but it does have good offensive stats, so It can be definitely a versatile Pokemon depending on how you want to run it. I'm never very versatile with my Tangrowth. I pretty much just run AV, but I guess depending on how he wants to use it, certainly could offer quite a lot offensively. And yeah, some of the other, like Dragonite, Gallade, talking about these two guys a lot, but again, they're quite versatile. Ashgren is, I guess, it's kind of versatile. It's not like it's probably going to be running mostly a similar sort of style of set. It'll probably be just Z move or specs most of the time. But yeah, that's the thing. PZ presumably can't run the Omni Boost set, but still big offensive threat because like Scarfed with download is a tricky Pokemon to switch into. If it's like Double Dance as well, that's a nightmare. So yeah, just a decent Pokemon in general. Yeah, it's a good offensive. It's a good sort of balanced draft, I guess. Defensive cores. Yeah, I talked about the synergy. What else? Has he got like decent offensive momentum grabbers? Gren can certainly force switches because people don't want to get killed by it, and then U-turn into some of the breakers, so that works well. Yeah, that's good quality to the draft. Is it weak to anything? Is it notable? I think Bolt Beam. It's kind of he's got decent Bolt Beam switch-ins, I guess. Seismitoad is a good switch into like electric types with HP Ice. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good draft. It is a good draft. Ashgren is broken, so that's pretty cool. Then we have the LA Landorus. These guys have the Genesect, Mew, Tapu Koko, Decidueye, Pelipper, Mega Swampert, Moltres, Poliwrath, and Regirock. So plus points for Poliwrath off the bat because that's the beast. That's the true beast right there. But he didn't pick up the Mega Latias, which is unfortunate because Poliwrath Mega Latias is the greatest core that ever has existed. But what can you do? Picked up some broken stuff though at the start. Genesect, Mew, Tapu Koko, really good. All really good picks in League. Genesect is very difficult to switch into with the right coverage, and obviously you can prep in draft format, so it's going to have the right coverage, and it'll be scary. Really good priority too, of course. And then he has it also sets up and shit. It's a spooky Pokemon, no lie. Mew obviously very good, very versatile. Koko is a huge threat because I really like the option to run Tapu Neem Z because like a lot of would-be switch-ins are just aren't viable checks when it can just chunk 3/4 of their health off and then knock it out with some kind of physical coverage move, be it like Brave Bird or some neutral move is usually enough to take out things from 25% because Koko's not no slouch offensively. Then yeah, he's got a Rain core as well, which is pretty cool. He's got like Swift Wind Poliwrath will be funny, but more than likely than not, Mega Swampert we'll see fairly often, which is obviously a big threat. And Rain is really good against offense, and since people drafted a lot of offense, I think this is a smart draft. So yeah, that's really good. Moltres is cool in the rain because it's cool because it can hit really hard in the rain with Hurricane and hit quite hard outside the rain with Fire Blast and stuff. So that's maybe a nice fire type to have on Rain. Pretty interesting one. In terms of hazard control, you got Mew for rocks and defog, Decidueye can defog, Pelipper can defog, Swampert can set up rocks, Moltres I presume can defog, although probably not going to want to do that too often. And then Regirock sets rocks, so decent enough, just no spikes, just rocks and lots of defog, so fairly straightforward hazard game, but there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. In terms of like offensive synergy, it's cool that he has like Genesect on Rain because obviously fire types aren't going to want to come to matchups against this team. And yeah, you can obviously get the weakened fire moves, although they'll probably still kill Genesect. Well, the Genesect has decent bulk. What's its exact stats? 71, 95, 95 defenses, which are certainly respectable. So yeah, weakened fire, like HP fires and stuff, are going to bounce off in the rain, so that's good. Yeah, and then like what else in terms of offensive synergy? What do you want rid of? You want to get rid of like grass types, I guess, for Mega Swampert, or certain bulky waters, I guess. So Koko and Genesect do those jobs pretty well. So yeah, it's built pretty well, I guess, around the rain concept. Koko, I mean, I don't really know what Koko wants removed because again, with the option to run Tapu Neem Z, it can usually get rid of its own counters. But I suppose in terms of ground types, potentially, and electric types and stuff, the Mega Swampert's a smart pick because it can threaten those guys. So yeah, that's pretty decent. And things like I don't know, Chomp or whatever, Lando T. Yeah, it's always going to threaten those, so that's good. So yeah, that's a pretty solid rain draft. Don't see too many holes in it offensively. Defensively, I mean, it's okay. You got the Mew to fall back on and can pivot into most things because you can tweak its EVs and whatnot. Regirockets is a good blanket check to most physical attackers. What else? Decidueye has decent SPDF, decent FizzDef-ish, so that's the thing. So yeah, it's a kind of a viable defensive core. It will be a more offensive team, most likely, like definitely in general, but does have some defensive stuff as well that can pivot in. And again, as I said before, I like the fact that this defensive stuff can dish out hits, so that's pretty good. And moving on to the final team, we have the Springfield Stallers. We see Megaladias, Jirachi, Manaphy, Sylveon, Crocodile, Weezing, Aerodactyl, Quillfish, Manectric, Vullaby, and Hariyama. So picked up the beast, Megaladias. I think proven itself one of the more fearsome picks in draft format. Jirachi synergizes really well with it, and Sylveon, so that's good, very good Dragon Steel Fairy core. I'm a big fan of Sylveon, although some people say it's like wildly overrated, but like round 4 Sylveon for 13 points is certainly a good pick. Then he has the Manaphy, round 3 Manaphy, that's pretty nice. For sure, that's a good Z-move user and stuff. So yeah, the first 4 picks are very good in my opinion. What else? So speed tiers, you have Aerodactyl, I guess, Megaladias, the 2 base 100s, Crook, Manectric, so it's reasonably fast. Some of his speed is a bit lower tier, but it's not the end of the world. They're still, like, Aerodactyl's quite good against offense, so that's okay. Does he have like, he doesn't have like mad speed gaps because he has the 95s under his base 100s. Maybe down from there, there's a bit of a gap, is there? Possibly a bit of a gap under Crook, but yeah, who cares? Quillfish kind of covers that. If you want to run a fast set, maybe. So I don't know, could be an issue, but not the end of the world really. In terms of hazards, what you got? Rocks, Jirachi, Crook for rocks, Weezing for toxic spikes, Aerodactyl for rocks and defog, Quillfish for spikes and stuff, and Vullaby for defog. So like defoggers are okay. Like he has 3 defoggers. You're not gonna want to run it too often on Megaladias, I think. So kind of mediocre hazard control, I'm gonna say. Like you can run it on Ladias, obviously. He's not like super weak to rocks by any means, but yeah, I guess it's not the end of the world because he isn't weak to rocks. Spikes would be a thing, but I mean, you can run Vullaby and Aerodactyl as defoggers, I guess. Vullaby's an okay Pokemon. It's not like, you know, it is Little Cup, but it is very bulky. So yeah, it is usable, I guess. In terms of what else? Yeah, his cores are good. Obviously, he's got the Ladias, Jirachi, Sylveon, Manaphy. Does he have a grass type? He doesn't have a grass type. He doesn't have a fire type. Does he? No. So he didn't go with that core, but very good. Yeah, Dragon Steel Fairy core. Yeah. Let's see. Like in terms of other, what's threatening him? How's he on Bulk Beam? Pretty weak to Bulk Beam, I guess. Manectric maybe, but I mean, Ladias doesn't care about HPI, so that's the thing. You really would need to be like, I don't know, you need to be like an ice type with Thunderbolt maybe, would be more threatening, I guess. Yeah, so Ladias is actually a good, decent Bulk Beam switch in. Doesn't care about like HPI, so that's fine. Yeah, pretty decent. Again, pretty decent draft. I don't know, it's hard to fault it too much. I do like the first sort of half of it in particular. For sure. Hariyama is good for getting rid of some steel types maybe, which Ladias might not be able to break. Crook as well, he's good. Yeah, he's got good steel type breakers for the Sylveon and the Ladias, so yeah, that's pretty decent. Overall, yeah, don't know, not too much more to say about it, I guess. So in terms of power ranking, so we're going to have to put these in order from 16 to 1. How are we going to do this? Well, 16 is easy. That's the Bristol City Banettes. No hate, but yeah, this is a bad draft. For sure. 15, what are we going with? Let me see. I'm probably going to rank these based on whether or not they have an S tier. But let's see, what's number 15? Possibly this one here. Yeah, who's this? This is the Scarborough Staraptors. Gonna say at number 15. It's just lacks an S tier, and he has Mega Abomasnow. Yeah, it's alright, but I'm not too impressed by it. So we'll go with that for 15. For number 14, let's say, who's number 14? This is, yeah, a little bit haphazard, but yeah, we'll get a list out. Don't you worry. Number 14. Let's see. What did I not particularly like? There was a team with like no hazard control. That's probably justifiable having it there, although it is a decent enough side. Yeah, I mean that's a good get out of jail clause. Let's say no hazard control. So let's go with the Atlanta Braviaries for number 14. Number 13. Let's see what else. Number 13. No rockers. No rockers, Rio. That's kind of bad. Gotta say, maybe not number 13. That might be a bit harsh because I do quite like his. I do quite like some of his strategies that he has on that team. Let's see. Who will be number 13? 13 is going to be, yeah, it's gonna have to be Rio with no rocks, I think. Does he have a rock? Oh, he has Uxie. No, he has Uxie, so that's a bit harsh. Let's see, number 13. Hard to just call looking at it like this. Maybe this one. This is quite good though. No, that's a good draft. They're all quite similar. Like there's a lot of decent teams. 13. I'm gonna say. I'll go with this one maybe. Sandkanga. No, it's decent. Like they're mostly pretty good. They're mostly pretty good. Yeah, this is hard. So yeah, it's just probably gonna be me struggling for the next 10 minutes or whatnot. So bear with me. But let's pick something. I hate to do this one because I've seen it in action and it was pretty decent, but I'll go with the Trailblazers. I think God, yeah, what are we going with? Okay, well, like they're mostly good from here. That's the thing. They're mostly good. I think I am gonna go with Rio's team. I think just because. No, I'm not gonna go with Rio's team. God damn it. Okay, all right. We have to pick. What is my final answer? Okay. Let's go with what? This is high quality content. 13 grand team. No, that's good. This one is good. This one's pretty good. This one's pretty good. This one's good. This one, maybe. Mega Beedrill's kind of crap. Yeah, okay. This one is the St. Kilda Serperiors. I'll go with because they do have Magearna, but I don't like Mega Beedrill as a Pokemon, so pretty harsh. And yeah, I mean I mostly like them from here anyway. But that's gonna be number 13. And number 12, we will go with number 12. I will go with I think the Deoxys Speed team probably because I'm not a fan of Gligar, and there's a few passive things that I'm not crazy about. But he has Mega Gyarados as well, so yeah, this is what it is. So that's number 12. Number 11, we're gonna have. What are we gonna have? Number 11. Let's see. Number 11, I will go with this one. I think I don't like the T-Foggers. I don't like the hazard control really. That's possibly a thing. But that's a little bit harsh, I think. But I'll put that one at 11. Just, yeah, based on not liking the defoggers and no spin with some hazard sack is I guess a problem. So yeah, that's the thing. At number 10, I will go. Who's going Who's at number 10? Number 10, I'll go with the Sand team, I think. Just because its speed tiers are a little bit reliant on webs and having sand up, I guess. That's kind of a flaw, but it's a good team. Number 9, let's go with... what do we have at number 9? Probably, yeah, we'll go Rio's team at number 9. Pittsburgh huge powers. Just the one rocker, I guess. Yeah, that's all I can say really. Uxie, you're gonna have to bring Uxie a lot of the time with rocks, but decent team for sure. Number 8, this one I think New York Pokemon Rangers. Just no S tier, I guess, is all I can say. Maybe hazard control is a little bit limited as well, but it's all right. So, and then speed tiers are kind of reliant on Scolipede, but it's not a huge deal. But yeah, that's going to be number 8, although I do like that team. Number 7, this one I think, Kentucky Fried Torchics, just broken stuff, but arguably a little bit clunky. But yeah, Pheromos is stupid. Number 6, let's put in the... Gonna have to make sure I remember what I have actually picked at this point, but number 6 is going to be the I picked that one. Number 6, let's see what's left. First of all, what's actually left? Let me just refresh. Number 6, so these are all gone. This is still here, isn't it? This is a good team though. So from the top row it's just these 2 left. And from the bottom row, we still have the Rain, the 2 Grand teams, and this team, I think. So I think this team, Atlanta Shocks, just Mega Camerupt is not the greatest, but it's a good, well-built team overall. I think good balance to it. So that's going to be number 6. Number 5, I'll go with Washington Reskitty. Yeah, this is well built as well. Looks quite balanced, but good against offense as well with the Protein Grand. Number 4, what's left then? We have the Rain team. I'll probably go the Rain team at number 4, I think, just because he has less Pokemon than the other guys, basically. Number 3, we'll go with what are the 3 left are this team, which is really well built, and the Ash Grand team and the Broken team. Let's go with number 3, which is better, the Metagross or the Ash Grand or the Timberr, whatever. I feel like this one is more. I feel like more thought went into this one in terms of offensive synergy. So I'm gonna put the Timberr Rattles, or the Wisconsin team, at number 3, I think. This is a good team though, for sure, and Ash Grand looks really strong on it. Then number 2, we'll go with the Montgomery Metagross, because it's just very good synergy with Tapu Lele and stuff. And at number 1, of course, we have the Anaheim Altarias. I don't think I need to explain this one too much. It's kind of cracked. So there you go. The most professional power rankings you've ever seen. I'll try and actually put a list up, because obviously the last few minutes of that were probably fairly incomprehensible, but it is what it is. So yeah, that was kind of all I could do. It's still probably a very long video, so yeah, no hate please, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that one. But until the next time, peace.